Now sometimes you're going to have to order fractions, deciding whether they are bigger or smaller or equal to each other. In this case here, we've got 2/5 and 3/5, and we need to decide which one is less than and which one is greater than. Alright, now the easy way to do this is to first of all have a look at the denominators.
So that's step one, compare the denominators. Well, we can see that if we had a bar model, which we've done here, each part is equal at the moment. So we've got an equal fraction, so that makes our jobs a lot easier. Okay, we've got 5 equal groups. Step 2 would be to compare the numerators. Well, in this fraction here, let's say for instance Bobby had 2 pieces of the chocolate bar, and over here we can see that possibly Sally has 3 pieces of the chocolate bar. So straight away, alright, we can do step 3, which is to compare both fractions. Who has more and who has less? Well, we can tell straight away that over here, Bobby has less 2/5, which is less than 3/5. And that's a nice straightforward way of comparing and ordering fractions when they've got the same denominators. But what happens if the denominators aren't the same? Well, let's find out.
So here we have the fraction again, 2/5, and we've got 3/4. So remember, the first step we need to do is to have a look at the denominator. And we can see here this denominator is 5 and this denominator is 4. So straight away we can see that neither fraction is equal. Which means we're going to have to use our skill in equivalent fractions to make both denominators equal. Now, we obviously can't simplify the fractions because there's nothing that we can divide 2/5 by and 3/4 by that would be the same, other than the number 1. So we're going to have to multiply them instead. So let's have a look. What multiple is in both the 5 times tables and the 4 times tables? Well, you could write down your entire list of 5 and 4 times tables, but I already know that 5 times 4 gives me 20. So if I have 2/5 and I make 20, what have I times 5 by to get 20? Well, I know I've done 5 times 4, which means if you remember, whatever you do to the denominator, you must also do to the numerator. So we do 2 times 4, which gives us 8. So now we've got 8/20. Alright, now we've done that to that side, we must also do the same to 3/4. So, what can we times 4 by to get 20? Well, I know 4 times 5 is 20, and remember, whatever you do to the denominator, you must do to the numerator. So 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so let's compare the two fractions now. Well, now it's a lot easier for us to compare them because if we look at the denominators, we've got 20 there and 20 there. So now both denominators are equal. The next thing you have to compare then is the numerators. We've got an 8 there and 15 pieces there. So which one has more pieces? Well, we know 15/20 has more than 8/20. So our answer to this might be 15/20 is greater than 8/20. So let's do a quick recap. For step 1, you look at the denominators. Are they the same? If they are the same, then all you have to do for the next step is compare the numerators. If, however, the denominators are not equal, then your next step will have to be to find a common multiple for both numbers. So in this case, I know 20 was a common multiple because it appears in both the 5 times table and the 4 times table. Step 3. You then, whatever you do to the denominator, you must do to the numerator. So we did that for both fractions. This side we times by 4, and this side we times by 5. Step 4. Once you've got equal denominators, you must then compare the numerators. And then that way you can order your fractions.
Now you've come to the end of the video, remember to rewind if you need to. Take plenty of notes in your maths notebook on how to find equivalent fractions and how to order them. If you need any help with any spellings, remember there are some keywords on the next slide to help you, as well as on the working wall. Please make sure that your notes are clear, because you will need to come back to them in the future if you need to remember how to find equivalent fractions. Well done, good luck.